Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris here, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about Dune Part 2. I posted my review this past Friday, and I'll link an info card with that for anybody who missed it. But I've been thinking about the film since I saw it, and in my review, I talked about how I thought it was a great sequel, and it is a great sequel. But really, the more I think about it, the more I sort of elevate it to that level of things like Aliens or Empire Strikes Back as being one of the best sequels, or with the same director here, Blade Runner 2049. I actually think, I know this is sort of blasphemous to say, but I think that Blade Runner 2049 is better than the original. But I wanted to make a video to talk about why I think we need more films like Dune Part 2. And I think a lot of people would not disagree with that, but I think this conversation is not had enough, sort of in the industry. Audiences say this frequently, but I do think that a lot of times executives see the success of things like the Marvel films. And don't get me wrong, there are some great Marvel movies. Guardians of the Galaxy, the original Doctor Strange, there are some really good ones there that I enjoy, but it's sort of become kind of a formulaic thing that to me has petered out just a little bit. The thing that I love about Dune Part 2, well, there's a myriad of things that I like about it, but it's a movie that's not afraid to be weird and dark. And of course, it's drawing a lot of that from the source material, it's trying to be faithful to that. But it's not afraid to do new things, and I think to go in directions that, maybe if you haven't read the books, you don't know a whole lot about what's coming. But just reflecting on what was in the movie, I just continue to be amazed by the fact that it really pushed the story forward quickly, right? In measurable, significant ways. There were big stakes to things. But I like, too, that it's a longer movie that is given time to breathe and that has interesting characters, right? I was talking with a friend recently and we were talking about Game of Thrones and how there's sort of those political power plays that really kind of define that as a franchise. Obviously, that's a big thing in Dune, but I just love that it's a movie that treats audiences as if they're smart, because audiences are smart, right? We know what we want. We know what's crap when we see it. In fact, I saw an interview with, is it Dakota Johnson? I could be misremembering who it is that's in Madam Web. But she said essentially the same thing, and this was on IGN where I saw this interview where she said that she was not surprised at how things have played out for that movie, that audiences know when something is essentially BS. But I just hope that Hollywood takes some lessons from Dune and just realizes that people want events, right? And what that means, or what I mean when I say that is, don't give us a movie literally every year that's by the numbers, that sort of just spat out really quickly and cobbled together quickly because the metrics that exist previously suggest that it's going to be a big thing. Let a movie and a story marinate. Give the director time to allow his or her vision to come to fruition in its entirety. I think that's what we got from Dune Part 1 to Dune Part 2, and it just turned out to be such a great movie. I really want to get back into theaters to see it again. One thing I didn't talk about, I don't think, with a whole lot of depth anyway, in my review, was just how visually amazing it was, too. There's this whole sequence on a planet where everything is kind of monochromatic when you get out into the star, right? The sunlight provided by the star that planet orbits. And it's just a very visually interesting thing, and I think there may be some kind of thematic connections to some of the stuff that's happening with the Harkonnens and sort of the black and white nature of, take over everything or die that they sort of embody. But Dune Part 2, it's just such a great movie, and I want more of that. I really hope that Hollywood takes some notes from this and we get more films like it, or cut from a similar cloth, right? But are their own unique individual things. We need more movies like this. So I just kind of wanted to share my 2 cents on this because I've just been marinating on it, and it's just such a good movie. It's just one of those great sci-fi sequels that we rarely get, right? I mean, I think Blade Runner 2049, to me, was the last great large-scale sequel that we've gotten in the realm of science fiction, and this is sort of right up there. So anyway, just wanted to share those kind of additional thoughts that didn't really make it into my review, because when I recorded that, I was coming right out of the theater, recording it that same night. But anyway, if you've seen Dune Part 2, tell me what you liked or disliked. Maybe you completely disagree with me and didn't like the movie at all. I think that's kind of a rarity just based on the reception it's gotten, but there may be some people out there who didn't like it. But let me know what stood out to you. And as always, thanks so much for watching.